Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to make an appetizer that I think you'll find really yummy. I don't know about you, but when I go up to the appetizer table, what I'm looking for is for something sweet. And I like to bake, so I thought I'd make something that you'll really like. It's called Southern Fried Bread with a creamy caramel sauce. And so we're going to begin by making the caramel sauce. And right here I melted 1 stick of butter, half a cup of butter, and to that I'm going to put, actually I melted it and it's still warm. That's important to know, because when I add the brown sugar, and this is a whole cup, it's going to melt, and once it melts then it doesn't taste sugary or have those little granules that you might have tasted in somebody's baking before that you probably didn't like. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. So right now I'm melting the butter along with the brown sugar together, and this is going to be the caramel sauce. So the next ingredient that goes in here is the Philadelphia cream cheese. And I've chosen to use the 1/3 less fat. Like I told you before, I always try to save calories, even though the things that I like are sweet and full of calories. Anytime you can save a few calories, to me it's worth it. So now I'm mixing in the softened cream cheese, and it takes a while to incorporate it, but it gets creamy and yummy. And the last part that I'm going to add is 4 teaspoons of vanilla, and I like to use real vanilla when I'm actually adding to the end of something, especially because if you cook with vanilla, real vanilla, you can't really tell the difference. But if you're not cooking with it, if you're not actually baking it in the oven so it gets hot and you just add it at the end, it really is a difference in taste that you can tell. So use real vanilla if you can afford it. So here's my 4 teaspoons full. And you want to go slow here. And you can see my caramel sauce is really melted all together. All the good stuff is all creamy, and it's going to taste so good with the Southern fried bread. And my fried bread is not actually fried. Like I said, I like to save calories wherever I can. So I'm always looking for a way to do that. And I know the fried bread that I had, my parents grew up in the South, and the ones that I had when I was younger actually were fried, but this one isn't. So anyway, we'll leave this, we'll change out. And I have a 10-inch skillet here. I melted 3 tablespoons of real butter. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to make the fried bread now. So now I'm going to make my dough. And I've used self-rising flour here. That was my grandma's recipe to make it. I don't actually keep it, so what I do is I take a cup of flour and then I put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in it, and then I used a teaspoon and a half of baking powder. Make sure it's powder, and that made my ingredients here for having 1 cup. So that was my substitution. And another substitution I made is it calls for buttermilk in the recipe, and I made my own. I took a cup of milk, and then I put a tablespoon of vinegar, but you can use lemon juice too if you'd rather. And this calls for 1/2 cup, so then of course I measured out 1/2 cup. So let's put these two together. Okay, now here's the fun part. We're going to pat it out as soon as I get it nicely mixed. And I'm going to use my little 1.5 to 2-inch cutters, cookie cutters, and I'm going to make little dough cuties to put inside the pan and bake. And these are going to be my fry breads. So what I'm doing is actually making like chips that you would dip, only called fry bread. So I think you'll really enjoy it. It's easy to make, comes together quickly. It's even really fun to do with your kids, because you know how kids love to cut out cookies. Well, this is just like that, so anyway, give it a try. So now I've got all my dough together, and now it's time to work with your hands. And I got a little bit of just all-purpose flour here. I'm going to rub that around, spread it around. And now I'm going to pat this out to a 1/4 inch thick. And you want to keep your dough from being sticky, so keep some flour there. Okay. Another little secret that I use when I'm baking and making cookies is to always dip my little cutters, and that way they don't get stuck. So here's the first one. Let's get rid of this. I'm bringing the pan over so you can see what I'm doing here. And see, I'm just going to cut those out and put them in there. We'll do some of the tulip. I try to choose some spring looking little shapes here. And I got a butterfly. So you can see this goes really quickly, and you can also see that it'd be fun for kids, because what kid doesn't like to do little shapes and cut them out? It's kind of like playing, only for food. Okay. So when I come back, I'm going to show you, I'm going to finish rolling these out for the sake of the time. I'm going to finish, get them in the oven, bring them out, and then show you everything together plated. So I'll be right back. Well, we're all finished here. I baked off the fry bread, the southern fry bread, and something I needed to remind you when I did the biscuits or the fry bread, and when you put them in there, you want to flip them over because you want both sides to have that butter, because that's what's going to fry the bread to make it the fry bread. So anyway, make sure you do that. They bake about 10 to 12 minutes. It doesn't take long. So as you can see, this is really an easy, quick and easy little appetizer you can put out. Another thing that goes well with this dip is apple slices or fruit. Anything that goes with a caramel dip, especially apples, would be good. So anyway, let's taste it, because that's the most important part. You can see the dip is really, really creamy. If you refrigerate it, it gets thicker, but right now it's really nice and pliable. And with the fry bread being still warm, it kind of just oozes and melts right into it. It's buttery. It tastes caramely. It tastes creamy from the cream cheese. And most important, it's delicious. So I hope you'll try it and enjoy. Thank you.